minutes. Mr.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I was a member of the Public Audit Committee during this work, and I fully support the recommendations set out in the report, and I want to thank the convener for his flexibility with the time he gave me for my questions during the sessions. The Scottish Government have invested in Ferguson to protect jobs, finish the vessels and also ultimately save the yard. The yard wouldn't be in a position today if regular investment had taken place over the decades before it went into liquidation in 2014. And that's something that we do need to remember. Now, the fact that the number of overseas workers employed in naval construction yards has attracted criticism recently, with people arguing that this is at the expense of Scottish or UK workers, demonstrates the impact that a lack of investment in people has had. I mean, Willie Rennie touched upon the point about the pipeline, or that drumbeat of investment and also orders, and he's absolutely right in that point. But to go back to the report before us, there has thankfully been some personnel change at the yard. For example, Duncan Anderson is a new acting chair of the board, and I wish Duncan well, and I hope a permanent appointment to this position is found soon. And the current CEO, Graham Thompson, also took post in May, joining the yard towards the end of the committee's work, so he can be absolved of any of the legacy issues. But the Audit Scotland report itself, I only have 4 minutes, the Audit Scotland report itself was mixed, as was our report, and certainly the convener touched upon some points earlier on, but ultimately the yard does need orders. And as Section 17 indicates, there is no shortage of potential work to be won. Section 18 outlines the key steps to enable the yard to do this, which include just 4 quick bullet points: rebuilding its competitiveness, sustained investment, effective management, and learn lessons from the recent tender bids. To be quite honest, Presiding Officer, I thought it was absolutely foolish in the extreme that the yard management decided to include the Small Vessel Replacement Programme 1 direct award order in the previous business plan. Now, I know that I'm not alone in thinking that. The yard management in the subsequent wage bill was bloated, so their bids were always going to be exorbitant. And notwithstanding the social value clause, which I'm sure that Paul Sweeney will touch upon no doubt in a minute, notwithstanding that social value clause, it's been touched upon many times in this chamber, the 65% ratio, the 65 to 35% ratio of quality and cost respectively gave the yard's board and management a prime opportunity to actually win the work. But they didn't just fail, they failed spectacularly, letting down the workers, the local community and also the taxpayer. Now, the committee and anybody who will listen will have heard about the revolving door of highly paid senior personnel coming and going within months, costing a small fortune. Now, this has not been a good use of taxpayers' money. It certainly hasn't helped the morale on the shop floor. Now, Sections 37 to 41 cover the then Chair's frustration at the bidding process. No, I'm sorry, only 4 minutes. The Section 37 to 41 cover the then Chair's frustration at the bidding process, claiming the UK yards can't compete on a level playing field, despite Section 38 suggesting UK yards actually can win. The then Chair was quoted in Section 41 stating, and I quote, I mean, the convener touched upon this earlier, there is work, a possible contract which involves a private individual. There are 2 or 3 other things in the pipeline that we are enthusiastic about. We would definitely like to deliver some good news in the next 6 months. Well, there has been one bit of good news. That chair is gone from the yard, and I welcome that, because the yard management at that time lost orders and the workforce deserves better. The yard does need investment, and I do support the 14.2 million, notwithstanding some of the hyperbole that Daniel Johnson came up with earlier on, but I do want that 14.2 million to actually go into the yard, because it's absolutely crucial for the yard's future. And in concluding, Presiding Officer, the key to boosting the yard's efficiency and putting them in that position to secure some of that work in Section 17 is for the board and the management to work effectively and efficiently and turn our yard, because it is our yard, turn it into the yard that we know that we can all be proud of, and also to help support our workers. Thank you.
Thank you.